There's John Candy, our hero.
It's very weird, I still have to change the kitty litter every night.
John Candy was the kind of actor who made you laugh until your sides hurt, but behind that infectious smile was a man full of surprises. From being chauffeured by a young Conan O'Brien to saving a Hollywood blockbuster with a last-minute role, his life was as extraordinary off-screen as it was on. But what secrets did we only uncover after he was gone? Did you know that one of John Candy's most memorable roles almost didn't make it into National Lampoon's Vacation? It's true. The Griswolds had endured a hilariously chaotic road trip, and their journey was finally about to pay off as they reached their destination, Wally World. But then, a twist changed everything, and in stepped John Candy as the well-meaning but bumbling park security guard. His performance in that role became iconic, delivering laughs and memorable lines that fans still quote to this day. Yet what many don't realize is that this scene was never part of the original plan. When director Harold Ramis first shot the movie, the ending didn't include John Candy at all. Instead, the Griswolds were supposed to confront the park's founder, Roy Wally, and the film would end on that note. But when test audiences saw this version, it flopped. People didn't like it, they felt cheated. Imagine following the Griswold family through every mishap and disaster only to watch them fall short of their goal. It wasn't satisfying, and the feedback made it clear that something had to change. Faced with this challenge, Ramis turned to John Hughes, the film's screenwriter, for a solution. They needed a fresh ending, something funnier, something unexpected, and something that truly delivered on the promise of the Griswolds' journey. Hughes came up with the idea of introducing a security guard who becomes an unwilling accomplice to Clark Griswold's wild antics. This character needed to bring both humor and heart to the climax of the film, and Hughes and Ramis knew exactly who to call: John Candy. At the time, Candy was already making waves in the comedy world, and his talent for balancing slapstick humor with genuine charm made him the perfect choice. He stepped into the role of Russ Lasky, the Wally World security guard, and brought his signature touch to the character. Candy's portrayal of Russ was both hilarious and endearing. His expressions of confusion, reluctance, and eventual compliance with Clark's absurd demands added layers to the scene. Who could forget the classic line, "Sorry folks, the park's closed. The moose out front should have told you?" Ramis himself later reflected on the impact of this last-minute addition during a DVD commentary. He explained how the rewritten ending featuring Candy changed the entire tone of the film. By letting the Griswolds experience Wally World, even in such an unconventional way, the movie gave audiences the payoff they craved. Candy's comedic timing and physical humor elevated the scene, transforming it into a highlight of the film. As Ramis put it, "We cast John Candy in the part of the security guard, and that became the end sequence. We edited it, we attached it to the film, we tested it, and then the test marketing went through the roof." This wasn't just a minor adjustment, it was a game changer. The inclusion of John Candy saved National Lampoon's Vacation from mediocrity and helped cement its place as a comedy classic. The audience's response to the new ending was overwhelmingly positive, and the movie went on to become a massive success. Imagine if they had stuck with the original ending. It's hard to picture the film without Candy's unforgettable contribution. What makes Candy's role in this scene even more special is how effortlessly he blended into the chaos of the Griswolds' world. He didn't just act in the scene, he brought it to life. There's a genuine sense of fun and spontaneity in his performance, as if he's in on the joke with the audience. His ability to connect with viewers, even in a relatively small role, is a testament to his comedic genius. John Candy had a rare gift for comedy, and it didn't take long for the world to notice. By the early 1980s, he was a rising star, known for his impeccable timing, warm presence, and ability to make people laugh with ease. His work on Second City Television, a Canadian sketch comedy show, had established him as one of the funniest performers of his generation. Naturally, bigger opportunities began to knock on his door, and among them was a chance to join the iconic Saturday Night Live, SNL. For many comedians, this would have been the ultimate dream. But for John Candy, the decision wasn't so simple. The story goes that after the 1980-81 season, SNL was struggling to find its footing. Executive producer Dick Ebersol, who had just taken over the reins, was determined to revitalize the show by bringing in established comedic talent. John Candy was at the top of his list. It's not hard to see why. Candy's work on SCTV was brilliant, and his lovable persona made him a perfect fit for the SNL stage. Ebersol wasn't just interested, he was eager to poach Candy and his SCTV co-star, Catherine O'Hara, for the show. It seemed like a done deal. But Candy had other ideas. Candy reportedly hated being caught in the middle of a tug-of-war between the two shows. On one side was SCTV, the scrappy underdog that had launched his career, and on the other was SNL, a comedy institution with a much bigger platform. According to Doug Hill's book Saturday Night, A Backstage History of Saturday Night Live, Candy was so uncomfortable with the situation that he retreated to his farm, refusing to answer phone calls. It wasn't just about loyalty to SCV, there was something deeper driving his decision. Years later, Candy's daughter, Jennifer, shed more light on why her father turned down SNL. She explained that while he appreciated the opportunity, he knew that the SNL lifestyle wasn't for him. The demanding schedule, the intense pressure, and the fast-paced environment would have been tough to balance with his personal life. Candy valued his time with his family above all else and wasn't willing to sacrifice that for fame. As Jennifer put it, "The other thing about my dad is that he was the ultimate family guy. That's the reason he didn't want to do Saturday Night Live. He knew the lifestyle wasn't going to be healthy for him. He was smart in that way." Candy's decision to stay with SCTV speaks volumes about his priorities. While many performers might have been tempted by the spotlight of SNL, Candy chose a path that allowed him to maintain some semblance of normalcy. SCTV may not have had the same level of mainstream recognition as SNL, but it was a creative haven for Candy. He thrived in its collaborative environment, creating unforgettable characters and honing his craft alongside other comedic legends like Eugene Levy, Rick Moranis, and Catherine O'Hara. What's remarkable about Candy's choice is how it reflects his character. He wasn't chasing fame for fame's sake, instead, he focused on doing what he loved while staying grounded. He often spoke about how important his family was to him, and he made a conscious effort to protect that part of his life. Even as his career took off and Hollywood came calling, he remained deeply connected to his roots. His family wasn't just a priority, it was the foundation of who he was. Candy's role as the ultimate family guy wasn't just a personal decision, it also shaped his career choices. He gravitated toward roles that aligned with his values, often playing characters who were relatable, kind-hearted, and full of humor. Whether it was Uncle Buck, Gus Pinsky in Home Alone, or Del Griffith in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Candy brought a sense of warmth and humanity to his performances. He wasn't afraid to show vulnerability, and that's what made him so endearing to audiences. By staying true to himself, Candy carved out a unique space in the entertainment industry. He may not have had the same trajectory as some of his peers who joined SNL, but he didn't need it. His work laid the groundwork for a career that would go on to include some of the most beloved comedies of all time. More importantly, he built a legacy that extended beyond the screen. Candy was known for his generosity, his kindness, and his ability to make everyone around him feel special. Whether he was joking around with Jack Nicholson or having fun behind the scenes, Candy's career was full of moments that showcased his charm, humor, and larger-than-life personality. One story that perfectly captures his fun-loving spirit happened during the making of Splash, directed by Ron Howard. Splash was a romantic comedy about a man falling in love with a mermaid, but Candy's supporting role as the protagonist's brother, Freddie, stole the show in many scenes. One of those scenes, a hilarious racquetball game, has an unexpected backstory involving Jack Nicholson, a long night, and a few too many drinks. It started the night before the racquetball scene was set to be filmed. Candy, being the sociable and warm person he was, found himself in the company of Hollywood legend Jack Nicholson. The two hit it off and spent the evening sharing drinks and stories. Jack, known for his charismatic personality, kept insisting on buying Candy drinks. Candy, always gracious and unwilling to turn down a gesture of generosity, didn't realize how late it had gotten. Before he knew it, the night had turned into the early hours of the morning, and he hadn't slept. When Candy showed up on set the next day, he wasn't just tired, he was still drunk and already feeling the effects of a hangover. As Ron Howard later recounted on Reunited Apart, Candy admitted what had happened and told the director about his night with Nicholson. "You're going to be all right, kid," Nicholson had reassured him as he poured Candy another drink. But Candy wasn't exactly feeling all right when he arrived on set. Despite his condition, he was ready to work, proving his professionalism even in less-than-ideal circumstances. The racquetball scene was one of Freddie's standout moments in the film. In it, Candy's character is hilariously out of shape, struggling to keep up while playing the sport. The irony is that Candy didn't have to act too much in this particular scene. His hangover gave him a natural disheveled energy that perfectly suited the character. One of the funniest moments occurs when Freddie serves the ball only to hit himself square in the forehead. What's incredible is that Candy nailed this in one take. According to producer Brian Grazer, Candy was so dazed from his rough night that he genuinely didn't react in time to dodge the ball. Instead of needing multiple takes, the shot turned out to be comedy gold, all thanks to Candy's ability to roll with the situation. This story speaks to Candy's innate talent for turning unexpected situations into something memorable. His improvisational skills were unmatched, and he had a knack for making every scene his own. This talent was perhaps most famously on display during his cameo in Home Alone. In the film, Candy played Gus Pinsky, the leader of a traveling polka band who offers Kevin McAllister's mom a ride back to Chicago. What many people don't realize is that the entire role was improvised. Chris Columbus, the director of Home Alone, later revealed that Candy's scenes were shot in a marathon 22-hour session. The lines weren't scripted, Candy simply made them up as he went along, riffing off the other actors and creating some of the movie's funniest moments on the spot. For instance, the POA bit where Gus lists off his band's supposed hits was pure Candy. His ability to come up with something so absurd yet believable was a testament to his comedic genius. Despite the grueling schedule, Candy's energy and humor never waned. Catherine O'Hara, who played Kevin's mom, recalled how much fun they had filming those scenes, even though the circumstances were less than ideal. Columbus later admitted that much of Candy's material had to be left out of the final cut because it was too funny. The scenes were supposed to show a desperate mother trying to get back to her child, but Candy's antics made it hard to maintain the emotional tone. Candy's ability to adapt and improvise wasn't just limited to those two films. Throughout his career, he brought a unique mix of preparation and spontaneity to every role he played. Whether it was a planned scene or something that happened at the moment, he had a way of making it unforgettable. His comedic timing, physical humor, and genuine warmth made him a joy to watch and to work with. The role that got away, and the one that didn't, was John Candy's undeniable knack for choosing roles that left a lasting impact. But even he had moments where things didn't pan out the way everyone expected. One of the most intriguing what-ifs of his career involves the role of Louis Tully in Ghostbusters. Believe it or not, the part was originally written specifically for Candy, and for a while, it seemed like a perfect fit. But creative differences led Candy to turn it down, paving the way for Rick Moranis to step into the role and make it his own. When Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters, reached out to Candy with the script, he envisioned the actor bringing his unique style of humor to the quirky, nerdy neighbor, Louis Tully. At first, Candy seemed interested, but as he read through the script, he struggled to connect with the character. He suggested changes, including giving Louis a German accent and making him the owner of several large dogs. While Candy's ideas were certainly creative, they didn't align with Reitman's vision for the film. The two couldn't agree, and in the end, Candy decided to pass on the role. It's fascinating to imagine what Ghostbusters might have looked like with Candy as Tully. His larger-than-life presence and improvisational skills would have undoubtedly added a different dynamic to the film. However, Reitman didn't have to wait long for a plan B. He sent the script to Rick Moranis the same day Candy turned it down, and within hours, Moranis called back, thrilled about the opportunity. He understood the character immediately and brought a nerdy charm that became one of the movie's highlights. In hindsight, it's hard to picture anyone else as Louis Tully, but Candy's initial involvement is a testament to how much faith Hollywood had in his talent. While Candy missed out on Ghostbusters, he found other opportunities to showcase his range as an actor, including a rare dramatic role in Oliver Stone's JFK. Candy played Dean Andrews, a shady New Orleans lawyer who becomes entangled in the film's intricate web of conspiracy and intrigue. This wasn't a typical role for Candy, it was serious, nuanced, and required him to step outside his comedic comfort zone. But Candy was determined to prove that he was more than just a funny man. To prepare for the role, Candy worked tirelessly. He hired a dialect coach to help him perfect a New Orleans accent, and he spent countless hours studying the script. According to his daughter, Jen Candy Sullivan, he was deeply invested in the character and wanted to get every detail right. It wasn't just about delivering his lines, it was about embodying the role in a way that felt authentic. Candy's commitment paid off, and his performance in JFK remains one of the most compelling of his career. Despite his hard work, Candy's part in the film almost didn't make it to the final cut. During the editing process, Oliver Stone considered removing Candy's scenes to streamline the narrative. When Candy heard about this, he was devastated. He had poured his heart into the role, and the thought of it being cut was crushing. But then something unexpected happened. Kevin Costner, the star of JFK, stepped in to advocate for Candy. Costner believed that Candy's performance was too important to lose and fought to keep his scenes in the movie. His efforts paid off, and Stone ultimately agreed to include Candy's role. The experience left a lasting impression on Candy. While he was known for his comedic roles, JFK allowed him to explore a different side of his talent, and he took immense pride in the work he had done. It also demonstrated how much respect he commanded among his peers. Costner's intervention wasn't just about preserving a performance, it was a recognition of Candy's dedication and skill as an actor. The contrast between these two stories, turning down Ghostbusters and fighting to stay in JFK, highlights the complexity of Candy's career. He wasn't just chasing laughs, he was constantly looking for roles that resonated with him and allowed him to grow as an artist. Whether it was a missed opportunity or a hard-fought victory, Candy approached every project with the same passion and commitment that made him a beloved figure in Hollywood. Candy's decision to pass on Ghostbusters might seem surprising, especially given how successful the film became, but it's a reminder that even the most talented actors have moments where their instincts lead them in a different direction. In Candy's case, those instincts often served him well, guiding him toward roles that showcased his unique blend of humor, heart, and humanity. A generous spirit, larger than life, John Candy wasn't just a comedy legend, he was also one of the kindest, most generous people in Hollywood. His reputation for going out of his way to make others feel special was well known among his colleagues and friends. Beyond the laughter and the memorable roles, it was his heart that left a lasting impression. He didn't just brighten the screen, he brightened the lives of everyone around him. One of the most touching stories about Candy's generosity comes from the set of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. During filming, Candy decided to host an Oscars watch party at his hotel suite. But this wasn't just a casual gathering with a few close friends. Candy extended invitations to the entire cast and crew, including those in smaller roles, the people who often don't get much attention on set. Troy Stevens, an actor with a minor part in the film, later shared how Candy made a point of including everyone, no matter their status in the production. When Stevens arrived at the party, he was expecting to see big names like Steve Martin and director John Hughes. Instead, he found himself surrounded by other small-part actors and crew members. It turned out that Candy had specifically invited those lower on the Hollywood ladder, ensuring they felt appreciated and included. To top it off, he ordered a lavish spread of food and drinks, reportedly racking up a $1,000 room service bill. When Stevens tried to chip in $200 as a gesture of thanks, Candy waved it off, saying, "That's been taken care of." This wasn't an isolated incident. Candy had a habit of making sure everyone felt valued, whether they were the star of the show or working behind the scenes. He treated people with respect and warmth, and he had a way of putting others at ease. His generosity wasn't just about money, it was about time, attention, and thoughtfulness. He genuinely cared about the people he worked with, and it showed in everything he did. Candy's kindness extended to his co-stars as well. Catherine O'Hara, who worked with Candy on Home Alone in TV, often spoke about how much fun he was to be around. During the marathon 22-hour shoot for his cameo in Home Alone, Candy kept everyone's spirits high, improvising lines and cracking jokes. Even though the conditions were tough, Candy's presence made it a memorable experience for everyone involved. His presence made the experience enjoyable for everyone involved. O'Hara remembered how Candy's humor and warmth turned what could have been a grueling day into a memorable one. What made Candy's generosity so remarkable was that it came from a genuine place. He wasn't doing it for attention or accolades, he simply wanted to make people happy. On another occasion, he went out of his way to support an actor who had a big part in a film they were working on. When Candy learned that the actor was feeling out of place, he invited him to dinner and spent the evening talking about everything from movies to family. That small gesture meant the world to the actor, who later described it as one of the most meaningful moments of his career. Candy's kindness wasn't limited to his colleagues, he was also deeply involved in charitable work, often donating his time and money to causes he believed in. He supported organizations that helped children, particularly those facing illness or adversity. His efforts weren't always publicized. Candy didn't seek recognition for his generosity. For him, it was about making a difference, no matter how big or small. Reflecting on Candy's legacy, it's clear that his generosity left an indelible mark on everyone who knew him. His kindness was a reminder that success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about how you treat others along the way. He understood the power of small gestures and the importance of making people feel valued. Whether he was hosting a party, improvising a scene, or simply sharing a laugh, Candy had a way of lifting people and making them feel special. Even after his passing, stories about Candy's generosity continue to surface, painting a picture of a man who was as kind as he was funny. His warmth and compassion weren't just traits, they were part of who he was, and they influenced everyone around him. Candy's ability to connect with people, both on and off the screen, is a big reason why he remains so beloved. John Candy's larger-than-life persona and warm smile lit up the screen in every role he played, but behind that infectious charm and comedic genius was a man who carried the heavy burden of insecurities and self-doubt. While audiences adored him for his humor and heart, Candy often grappled with fears about his career and how he was perceived in Hollywood. These struggles shaped many of his decisions, pushing him to take on every opportunity, even at the expense of his health and happiness. Candy's fear of being forgotten was deeply rooted in the unstable nature of Hollywood. He worried that if he ever slowed down, the industry might leave him behind. In conversations with friends and co-stars, he would admit to his insecurities, expressing concerns about his place in the entertainment world. His career, while filled with successes, was not without its setbacks. After a string of box office flops in the late 1980s, Candy's confidence took a hit. He felt the weight of the Hollywood machine, a system that often celebrated talent one moment and discarded it the next. These fears drove Candy to work relentlessly, accepting nearly every role that came his way. He didn't want to risk saying no and being seen as difficult or replaceable. This mindset kept him busy but also came at a cost. Candy rarely took breaks, pushing himself to the point of exhaustion. As his co-star Malik Yoba from Cool Runnings recalled, Candy once admitted that he had never taken a vacation in his entire career. He explained that he was afraid to stop working, fearing that if he did, the offers might dry up and the phone might stop ringing. This relentless work ethic took a toll on Candy's health and emotional well-being. By the time he began filming Cool Runnings, a Disney comedy inspired by the true story of the Jamaican bobsled team, Candy was battling a mix of exhaustion and anxiety. He knew the stakes were high, not just for the film but for his career. The pressure to succeed weighed heavily on him, and he confided in screenwriter Tommy Suero about how much he needed the movie to be a hit. Suero described a vulnerable Candy sitting in his hotel room in Calgary, saying, "I need this thing to be really good. Understand, I need it to be really good for me. I'm nobody in this town. I'm nothing. I'm Dog Boy." These words reveal just how much Candy struggled with self-worth, even as he remained a beloved figure to fans around the world. He felt like he had something to prove, not only to Hollywood but to himself. Cool Runnings became a personal mission for him, and he poured his heart into the role of Irving Blitzer, a disgraced bobsled coach seeking redemption. The parallels between Candy's character and his own life weren't lost on him. Like Irving, Candy was trying to find his footing again and remind everyone of what he could do. Candy's dedication to the film was evident to everyone on set. Despite his insecurities, he brought his signature humor and warmth to the role, creating a character that was both flawed and lovable. The film's director, John Turteltaub, later praised Candy's performance, calling it one of the best of his career. Turteltaub also spoke about Candy's fears, saying he was afraid of being forgotten. He was afraid of not being liked. That fear drove him to work as hard as he did, but it also ate away at him. Candy's commitment to his craft and his determination to make Cool Runnings a success paid off. The movie was released in 1993 to positive reviews and became a box office hit. Audiences loved Candy's portrayal of Irving Blitzer, and the film introduced his humor and heart to a new generation of fans. For Candy, it was a bittersweet victory. While the success of Cool Runnings reaffirmed his place in Hollywood, it also highlighted the personal sacrifices he had made to get there. As much as Candy loved making people laugh, he often struggled to enjoy his own success. He was known to skip movie premieres and avoid watching his performances with an audience. His son, Chris Candy, once shared that his father didn't like public screenings because he felt too self-critical. Instead, Candy would rely on his wife to attend premieres and report back on how the audience reacted. He wanted to know if people laughed at the right moments and enjoyed the film, but he couldn't bring himself to witness it firsthand. Looking back, Candy's struggles with self-doubt and his relentless drive to succeed add a layer of poignancy to his legacy. He worked tirelessly to make others happy, even when it came at the expense of his own health and peace of mind. Despite his fears, he continued to create unforgettable performances that brought joy to millions. His determination and resilience were a testament to his love for his craft and his unwavering commitment to his audience. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know.